Hi, I'm the AT Nomad, Brady Fulton, and I want to show you how to make a 3D printed dice spinner. It's really simple. It takes 10 steps. You need some parts. We've got our 3D printed base, our platter, our clear solo cup. This one's 12 ounces. We've got our battery holder. This one's a double AAA. Our hobby motor, just a small DC hobby motor. And a 3.5 millimeter jack. So we'll use this to actually plug in the switch. For tools, we also need 2 batteries. I'll steal those out of this one once we finish it to test it. Need some tools. We've got our soldering iron here, which I will turn on so it gets hot. Soldering iron, so we need some solder. I do have a drill bit. You might need this if the hole in the base of your platter doesn't fit onto the shaft of your motor. So if you need to open it up a little bit, this is a 2 millimeter. It's the same diameter as the motor shaft. I've got some wire cutters, some wire strippers. I've got some pliers. It helps when you're bending the wires around. And then I've got some E6000 super glue. Just helps hold things together so that everyone's playing with the dice roller, it doesn't come apart on you. So that's everything you need. Let's get started. So you start by taking the battery holder and cut either one of the wires, the red or the black, and you just cut it in half. So I'm going to go with the red one. About half. You can see there, maybe against my shirt. Just cut it in half. One end of the red one that you just cut is already exposed, but we're going to go ahead and take the wire strippers and we're going to expose about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of the wire on the one that we cut, and then we'll do the same thing on the battery holder on the end that we cut off. Just want to make sure there's 4 sides of wire that need to be exposed, so just if you can't see wire, go ahead and cut it back. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make our circuit. So think of the power. The power is going to go from the battery down one of these. We'll call it the short side first. So it's going to go down the red. It's going to go to the one side of the motor. The motor's got 2 little copper wings on it. You'll just need to take, and let's see if I can give you a good close-up on this. Right now they are flat against the body here. We're just going to go ahead and flip it up 90 degrees. Just gives you something to solder it onto. Okay, so power's going to come from the battery down the red wire. We're going to go to one side of the motor. We're going to take the red wire that we cut off. We're going to go to the other side of the motor. Then we're going to go to one pin on our jack. And then the black wire is going to be to the other pin on the jack. So you're just going to have a circle here. That's closing the circuit when you press your switch. So I like to mock this up first with just putting the wires through. There's holes on the motor mount. So I just go through there to bend it in half. Just make sure I got a good physical connection before I apply the solder. Just makes it good and secure. Do the same thing with the other. Like I said, if you got fumbly fingers or you can't quite see, just use some tweezers to make that little mechanical crimp onto the connection for the motor. Then we're going to come back and solder it once that soldering iron heats up. So now we got the 2 connections for our switch jack. So it doesn't matter which one you go on which way. We'll just do the same thing. Just go through the hole and then bend it over. Okay. Now that those are all made up, we'll go ahead and take our soldering iron and we're going to solder on these connections. Just make it nice and secure. protect whatever surface you're working on. I've got this scrap board on top of our table here, so I'm not... If you could see that my black wire just came off. So that connection will need to get made back up. So we're just going to heat up what we're going to solder. And we're going to apply the solder, remove the solder, remove the heat. You should be able to see if it's good or not. I'm going to add a little more solder onto this guy. Okay, and do the other side. Both of my switch jack connections came off. They're just kind of short, but that's okay. We will we'll do one and then we'll move it and do the other. Like I said, it doesn't matter which side goes to which one. Just a nice simple circuit here, so you don't have to think too much on this one. Roll this over and put the black wire on the other side. Make sure you've got some space for your solder to go in there. Just heat it up. Drop in my solder. And check it. Put a little more on this one. There we go. It's a good connection. Alright, so once we got our circuit, I'm going to hijack the dice out of this other one, as well as I'm going to take the platter off and steal the batteries. Got my batteries I'm going to put into my battery holder. Just 2 AAA batteries. There's little notches where the battery holder goes into the base. So just locate that, press it in. Then whatever side is closest, you can go ahead and let the motor wrap around. Press it on down into there. You'll take off, there's a knurled nut on the end of this switch jack. Sometimes they have a washer, this one does not appear to, so that's okay. We'll just go ahead and take the nut off, press that through the hole in the body, or the base rather, and then screw the knurled nut onto the outside. Get it good and tight. At this point you can test fit your platter onto the shaft of the motor. If it doesn't fit, just take your drill bit, give it a quick spin, open it up a little bit, and then it's just a press fit for the shaft of the motor onto the platter. Take your dice or whatever object you're spinning on the dice spinner, place them on the platter, just put the cup in, tilt it in under one groove, give it a little squeeze so it goes under the other groove, and there you go. You have made a dice spinner. And test it. I test it with the dice or with the drill bit just because I have it. Voila. 5, 6, 3, 14. Good for me. All right. I hope you enjoyed making this project. Go change the world.